We are live and ready to go for our COVID-19 music and film industry chat.
Okay.
And we have Christy Taylor here with us. We have Sherry Neely here with us. I'm Angela Green, Executive Director of On Location Office. And we just wanted to take this time to kind of come in and just talk to you all about all of these relief efforts that are going on. I don't know if you all realized that yesterday, the bank started taking applications for people to get the payroll protection program loans. And so a lot of these things are going on right now. So we need to let the independent artists, let the small business companies, entertainment companies know what they can do to get involved and get some of this relief that's out here. The music industry, as well as the film industry, they work very hard to make sure that you can tap into the stimulus relief. And so we wanna make sure that you do not miss out. So that's why we're here tonight, to share some of this information. We're gonna start with federal national programs first, and then we're going to move into your state programs and local programs for Memphis, Shelby County. So state of Tennessee, Memphis, and Shelby County, and kind of go from there. Of course, if you have any information that you want to give or that you have that we may have not gathered, because I mean, there's information and programs and funds being started up all over. Feel free to jump in. We're live. We're also in our Zoom. So those of you who are in the Zoom, feel free to raise your hand. We'll definitely promote you to panelists so you can kind of share the information that you have. So without further ado, let's start first with the IRS. Sherry, do you mind give us some information about what people can expect from the IRS, those who have filed their taxes? Do you have that information?
Well, I was really going to share details about the unemployment.
Okay, great.
Part of it, yeah.
That's fine. That's fine. Well, I'll jump in. Or do you have it, Christy?
Pretty much. As far as I had just the recap portion of the fact that we did have the Senate and the Congress did pass the CARES Act, and it was signed into law, which is providing opportunities across the board for various ways of getting funding. But specifically when it comes to creatives, I think this is where we're going to kind of dive more deeply into that. And I think I'm once again tossing the ball back to you, Angela.
Well, first off, as far as the IRS, if you have filed your taxes, and so I hope you as creatives have filed your taxes, because everyone has filed their taxes, and if you have made under, I believe it's 75,000, I think, a year, you're going to get $1,200. That's going to be an automatic payment to everybody across the board. If you're married, so if it's a couple, it's going to be $2,400. If you have children, it's going to be $500 per child. So that's automatic money that's going to be coming to you. If you had direct deposit, they're supposed to put it directly into your account. So that's the first thing to look for, getting those checks from the IRS. The second thing is the Payment Protection Program loan. And that was one of the SBA-backed loans. There are a couple of programs, Emergency Relief, Injury Relief Fund loan, as well as this one. And looking at both of them, I think the payroll protection is going to be the one that the independent artists, as well as the small business owners who have W-2 can get in on, at least for right now. Your independent contractors, you don't come into play until, I think, April 10th. So right now, starting yesterday, they started accepting applications from companies that do have W-2 employees. They can get 2.5 months of that payroll given to them as a loan. There is no credit check. There's no guarantee. There's no collateral needed. You would, and also too, if you use that money for your payroll, then you can get up to 100% of that loan forgiven. So it's almost like a grant. And so independent contractors or self-employed employees, you'll be able to get in on this payroll protection as well. However, they won't start taking those applications until April 10th. You will need to go through your local bank to get these loans. So whoever you bank with, we would suggest that you go to them and talk to them about this program. We personally, as far as On Location Memphis and myself, we work with Independent Bank and Pinnacle Bank. And so my bankers that are definitely open to talking to individuals who may not have accounts with them, because they will do these loans for individuals who may not currently have accounts with them. You can definitely reach out to Tamika Boykins at Independent Bank. Her number is 844-5051, as well as Andre Wilkes at Pinnacle Bank, 259-2164, or Brad Miller at Pinnacle Bank, that's 259-2136. So these are two, but you can go to, Bank of America, all of the banks, First Tennessee, Regions, all probably offering this, and they're taking applications now. They started yesterday, and then and everything is going to be going until the funds run out. So if you're an independent person and you do not have a W-2, they'll start taking those applications on April 10th. So
now, Angela, that's where I wanted you to kind of expound upon when it comes to the difference in this space between your W-2s and your 1099 freelancers, creative entrepreneurs, small business people. Just give a little bit more so they can understand which one they fall under.
Well, essentially, if you have a company like a LLC or a corporation, you set yourself up as a company and you have set up payroll where you offer yourself a W-2. So essentially with the W-2 employee, you have federal unemployment taxes that are being paid, state and local taxes that are being paid on your behalf, as well as your employer is matching. And so you get a W-2 in the mail to file with your taxes. Those companies that have W-2 employees, currently they're accepting applications for the Payroll Protection Program loan. Okay, if you are an independent contractor, which means you're getting 1099s from your employers, they're not taking out the taxes on your behalf. You essentially have to pay that when you file your own taxes. Those independent contractors, self-employed individuals, they're going to start accepting your application for the PPP loan program on April 10th. So that's the information that was given to me by my bankers on yesterday. As an independent artist, probably going to fall right there, which means you have some time to get your stuff together.
Now, what type of things do they need to gather? Because most, singers, musicians, visual artists, poets, whoever out here is, receiving monies for their craft, filmmakers even, authors, what type of information should they be compiling for the banks?
Well, essentially, you're going to have to prove your income for the past 12 months. So, of course, if you're getting a W-2, then you just basically pull your your tax returns for 2018, 2019 to show what your income was. You pull out your canceled checks and that sort of thing. So that's the information of that. If you're an independent contractor, then your 1099s will show your income for 2019, which you should already have those because employers are supposed to give those 1099s out by the end of January. So your 1099s will show what your income, and you divide that by 12, that's what's going to show what your monthly income. They're giving you 2.5 months income for that loan, and then you use that to pay yourself income and document that's what you paid it for, and that's how you're going to show them that so that you can get the loan relieved.
Now, in the case that you possibly may have not had contracted work with persons who provided 1099s, how can they, but maybe they were receiving checks, things of that nature, how can they verify their income?
If you can pull your canceled checks, possibly. I would say that's a good question for the lenders because they'll let you know what the documentation they're going to need. But I would assume a good assumption would be, your canceled checks. And it also reiterates the importance of running your business like a business, because of a situation such as this. So if you're an independent artist who has always been insistent that you get paid in cash, that's gonna, make things a little bit more difficult for you because it's hard to document the fact that it's just cash, that you got paid in cash and how much that was. So that's why it's important. And then also too, if you have not filed taxes in the last couple of years or so, that's going to make it a little bit more difficult, basically proving, what your income is. So it's very important to run yourself like a business for situations such as this, because you have to be able to prove or provide the documentation. But when you talk to your lender or a lender at your bank, they'll be able to walk you through the whole process, because they're going to have to submit the application on your behalf, get it approved by the SBA because it's getting guaranteed by the SBA. But it seems that it's going to be rapid. They're going to be reviewing these rapidly and making determinations and getting funds out as quickly as possible. So let's move on to unemployment benefits. You did share.
Sherry, I think that's on you. Okay, well, I can speak to this. I have actually,
I'm sorry, guys. I was on mute. Sorry about that.
yeah, so and I'll piggyback on Sherry when she finishes this part.
Yeah, exactly. Because I was going to pull you in actually and have you to speak about your personal experience here shortly. But yeah, so of course, everybody knows that President Trump recently signed the CARES Act, or COVID-19 stimulus bill, into law. And with that, the Department of Labor and Workforce Development actually has extended the benefits to gig workers, to self-employed workers, to people who are, the freelance workers. So this is awesome for those type of workers. So what I want to do is just talk about what you would actually get. And let's see here. So with that, let's see here.
And just keep in mind, as Sherry's pulling that information up, what state you're in, you would go to your state's unemployment department office to file for this.
Yeah. And of course, it includes a dramatic expansion of the unemployment insurance benefits covering these workers. And the workers that we are primarily concerned about are the artists, the musicians, the people that are creatives. Even if you're part-time, like we said, self-employed, gig economy workers, what's going to happen is that you're going to be able to literally apply for unemployment. Whereas before you weren't able to apply for these benefits, now you can apply for these benefits.
And this also includes filmmakers too, correct?
Yeah, filmmakers, any type of creatives, yes. And what's going to happen is that you go in there and you, before, if you've already attempted to apply for these benefits, you may have not. There's a section in there that asks if you're self-employed. You have to select that, but it'll also ask if you are don't have work because of a disaster, have been affected by it because of a disaster, and that will be. At first, it may have said something about the tornado in Nashville, but now Christy did update me and say that when she did it, it actually does have coronavirus as a selection, as an option. So if you were to go in there now, today, you would actually have that option. But no worries, you don't have to go in there and redo it. You won't be able to redo it if you've already done it by selecting the tornado, just to get your information uploaded. It's okay. You're still going to get the benefits and be able to benefit from it. I say updated on as a lot of you guys do, on the press conferences, watch CNN, Fox, all of that, to just kind of see what they're saying about it. And they did say that they need that information as soon as possible. So the sooner the better that you can apply for this information. It gets your name at the top of the list. So, so you're going to get those benefits up to $275 a week is the max that the state of Tennessee offers. However, the stimulus package offers a weekly benefit, which increases it to $600 for 4 months, up to 4 months, on top of what a person would typically get for unemployment. So you'll get an additional $600.
So are you saying it's 275 plus 600?
Well,
That is
at
correct.
this point, yes, at this point, that is what they are saying. That it would be. Mhm.
But and then also too, you need to check with your state to see what your state's minimum, because the Tennessee is 275, but it may be different minimum for
Right.
the state, correct?
Yes, the state determines what that benefit would be. And so, yeah. And then there's one other thing. It also, the stimulus package also extends unemployment coverage for an extra 13 weeks for people who have exhausted existing benefits. So that pretty much sums it up, because there's a lot of information out there and just kind of, deciphering through it all. So those are the most important pieces of that particular part of the CARES Act for unemployment benefits.
Okay.
So what most important thing is just get online, and whatever state you're in for your unemployment, get online. And they even have apps these days. You can download. I know state of Tennessee has an app that you can download and to keep track of the status of it. Of course, you do have to certify. You have to certify every week. You still have to do that. So yeah. Important thing is just to do it early, do it as soon as possible.
Right.
And I want to chime in on that. I did have an opportunity on this past Sunday to go to the website. And for those who typically work like me and I never file unemployment, even when I leave jobs, I always just get something else. Last year when I left the radio station, I did put in my application last March. But I didn't utilize it. So when I went back in on last Sunday, I was technically still within that 12-month period. So I just reactivated my benefits insurance for the state of Tennessee. And your income, your weekly is going to be up to $275, but based upon whatever you've earned. And mine is actually counting from the fall of 2018 till the fall of 2019. So that's the 12 months period that they're actually basing it on. So oftentimes they're going to be basing it on your 2018, 2019 tax year. So once you get in, once again, like I said, I found it very easy, and you can go back and look at your status to determine, because oftentimes, depending on how clearly you input your information, they'll just within a couple of days say that you're in an active status. If not, you will get a phone call, and they always say if you certain area codes 615, if you see that number pop up on your phone, answer it, because oftentimes it is from the unemployment office. So you have to make sure you do that. Of course, you can also go to local offices, and I know there's one that's located, I think, on Hickory Hill. I think that's our local unemployment office here in Memphis. But after that, yes, I would suggest, as they have stated, once you do get in the system, to utilize the app, because as they've stated, we've gone within 2 weeks, 10 million people across the country. So I don't know how many people have done it in the state of Tennessee, but the websites are typically going to be a little, bogged down because of the amount of people who are during this pandemic applying for unemployment assistance. Also, here's a trick. Do it early in the morning when other people are asleep. When most people are asleep, that's when you do it. Like if 3 in the morning, 4 or 5 in the morning, at times when there's less traffic, and you should be able to get in. Mm-hmm. So once again, the $600, what is that for 3 months? $600 weekly. So roughly what, $2,400 additionally for 3 months on top of whatever the state of Tennessee. So we see if someone is doing a chat real quick. What's that? Love the information. Thank you. Thank you very much, Ms. Collins. So I'm through on that part. And
okay.
I think
we do have another thing I wanted.
Yeah,
ahead,
as
Sherry.
far as the unemployment assistance, tossing it back to Sherry on that.
I was just going to say, don't, sometimes the information is not updated, and they did mention that in one of the press conferences, that the information is not going to be updated because, like you said, it's so much they got to do in such a short period of time. So don't fret if your information is not in there, like say for instance it's not reflecting your income or something like that because you're a gig worker, because you're a self-employed worker. If that information is not in there, they do have an option for you to upload proof of your income, for you to upload, like say for instance your tax returns, or for you to upload your 1099s or something like that, so you can show proof of your income. So don't fret about that. If you get to that point in the application and you're like, oh, you know, and they may not, even though it may say, oh, you're qualified for only X amount of dollars or something like that, that will change because, like I said, everybody is supposed to get the $600, an additional $600. And if you want to know how long, they're saying they're saying the benefits will start, the unemployment benefits will start in about a week or two, and then the the additional $600 could be an additional 2 to 3 weeks or something like that. So those are the, yeah.
I want to jump in right here too. And particularly in Memphis, we have a lot of creatives who do, you know, side hustles, you know, so make sure you also include that in, you know, to, you know, like if you got a part-time job doing something, include that in with your gig economy. If you're doing Uber and the like, just be sure to, you know, list everything, every dollar that you know, have coming in. Oh, and one more thing, yes, Sherry mentioned when you're doing the application that at the point where it talks about why you're doing it, I think I'm just froze.
Yeah.
COVID-19 is now listed as an option, or you'll see something, I think it says pandemic unemployment assistance. So it was either COVID-19 or pandemic. So just know when you see that language, they're talking about this.
Yes.
Gotcha. Okay. So just to give you some other national funds that are out there, just found Netflix. They've put $100 million aside in a fund for the different countries in which they have production presence in. So of course, in the United States, they've put $15 million aside for third-party organizations and nonprofits that are providing emergency relief to out-of-work cast and crew members. So I know they've put some money aside also to SAG-AFTRA and also the Motion Picture Association and a couple of other film and television organizations. So those, you know, those individuals who are working on those major film projects, you know, they have things in place. Netflix has something in place for you. So American Documentary, they're the organization that produces the PBS series POV or POV. I'm not sure. It's a documentary series that runs on PBS. So it's produced by American Documentary. They just launched an artist emergency fund. They'll pay up to $500 for food, health, and insurance benefits. And so you can go to amdoc.org. That's American Documentary, amdoc.org, and go to funds and residences. And so it gives you all the information. So if you're a documentary filmmaker, you may want to tap into some resources that they have there. If any of you all know of any other national film or music funds that are out there, feel free to put it in the chat or just to let us know. We'll try to get that information out. So, but those are the ones that I found. And I thought definitely all of the resources that have been provided through the CARES Act, we wanted to definitely let you know about that, because they're taking applications now, and hopefully the money wouldn't run out, but you don't want to take that chance. You just want to make sure that you're in there, you're counted, And if anything's coming down the pipe, you're right there. So let's move on.
Angela, real quick, I want to
Go
say
ahead.
that in addition to Netflix, so that means like for our actors, if you've been on any type of, if you were
Mhm.
SAG eligible, you
Mhm.
definitely want to explore and contact SAG after in regards to that voiceover work as well as anyone who's been working on production and you've become, union eligible. This is an opportunity to explore and see if you've qualified for those various benefits. Plus, if you are a musician, be sure to contact NARIS and see
Mhm.
place, because they are a large foundation and a lot of money is being, pointed in that direction as well.
Exactly. So if we move on to the state of Tennessee and locally, I did see that the Nashville Filmmakers Guild, they have launched a GoFundMe called the Film Action Fund, and they're trying to raise $80,000 for filmmakers and cast and crew individuals in the Nashville area. So if you have some extra money and want to give to the fund, you can go to GoFundMe and look it up under Film Action Fund and give. And if you are going to need to tap into it, then you may go over to the Nashville Filmmakers Guild and see what is in place for tapping into those funds once I guess they reach their goal. And then let me see. So locally, here in the state, in Memphis, Shelby County, Arts Memphis, they've kind of teamed up they were given some funds from a couple of the foundations here. They've teamed up with Music Export Memphis as well, and they're giving out $500, what are they calling it? Arts Emergency Fund is what they're calling it. So just to give you some of the details on qualifying for that is specifically for self-employed artists, and that's visual, literary, film, dance, music, or theater. If you had a contract or a gig that was canceled due to COVID-19, then you can apply and receive up to $500 to help replace that income. So the opportunity, the thing to remember is canceled contracts. So it's not based on future income or the fact that you're probably not going to get booked in the future. That's not going to qualify you. You have to be able to show that you had a signed contract for pay and it was canceled due to COVID-19. And because of that, you lost that income, and then you can apply for it up to $500. And they basically partnered up, because I know Music Export Memphis, they had an artist fund, and they're kind of working in conjunction with Arts Memphis to administer those funds. But if you're a musician, you can go to Music Export Memphis, go to their website and kind of check on that fund. That's also up to $500. They're pretty much following the same guidelines as Arts Memphis. So you have to show that you had a gig or a contract that was canceled due to COVID-19. And then if so, then you can apply for the $500 and get up to those funds.
Angela, I want to insert here as well that while we are talking about oftentimes specific, creatives, that there is a Community Foundation of Memphis, a COVID relief fund that's also in place. That is, I think, it's been across the board. All industries been putting money into that. So people who want to donate, that specifically is going to impact the Shelby County, Memphis area. Community Foundation has a COVID-19 relief fund. Plus, you can also tap into that if you have needs, and those needs are, more your daily living expenses and food and things of that nature. So if you need money is that way as well. MIFA, food bank, as well are some other options.
Okay. All right. So those are all of the programs that I was able to identify. Go ahead.
Quick question. I do know that we need to also find out from Tanya Dyson the Memphis Slim House has been partnering with quite a few organizations as well that's specifically targeting the art community. So that might be a worthy phone call as well if you're out there listening, is to contact the Memphis Slim House to find out what other resources are being made available to the arts community.
Oh yeah, that's a good call as well. So just to reiterate for you the different programs. First, look for those checks from the IRS if you filed your taxes. Those funds should be coming down the pike pretty soon. The payroll protection program loan, that's what you are going to inquire about when you go to your bank to talk to your lender. Ask them about that. Again, if you are not a W-2 company, a company that provides W-2s for your employees, then April 10th, as an independent contractor, self-employed individual, that's when they'll start accepting those applications. But you can go in and talk to them now. So on Monday, make connection with your bank, let them know that you're interested in learning about this program, and find out what all you need to get to them so that they can, start the process. And many of them will start collecting the information from you early so that when they open it up, you can go right in and they can submit those applications to the SBA, and you can get a quick return on the determination as to whether or not you're going to get the funds or not. And just keep in mind, even though it's called loan, if the funds are used for expenses that are allowed, they will forgive the loan at the end. So those allowable expenses are payroll, mortgage interest rates, rent, if you have rent on your office space. I'm trying to think what else. There are a couple of others. So ask the bank, but I know those are the main ones. So even if you just use it to pay yourself over those 2 months, then that's, you used it for what it was there for, was to keep you employed over that 2.5 month period. And that's what it's for. And so you can apply to have that whole loan forgiven at that point. So keep that in mind. And then also the unemployment benefits, go to your local state office and look into that, because now as an independent contractor, as a self-employed individual, you will be able to apply for unemployment benefits. For the state of Tennessee, that base rate is $275 a week, but the federal is going to bump it up another $600. It's going to extend you said that they're going to extend current individuals who were currently getting unemployment that had stopped. They're going to extend it for another 13 weeks. Is that correct, Sherry? And then I think the federal is going to go like 12 to 16. I think it said 12 to 16 weeks. So just keep that in mind. And then also, just for that extra money, extra $500 here and there, check out your local organizations here in Shelby County and Memphis, state of Tennessee, the Nashville Filmmakers Guild. Check out Arts Memphis, Music Export Memphis, Memphis Slim House. Look into those organizations and see what they have put in place. Also look into NARAS, the NARAS, the Grammys. Look into those organizations and see what they have put in place for filmmakers and musicians to help you get the relief that you need during this time. So I hope this information, go ahead, Sherry, you got something else to add?
I was going to say, did we discuss the economic injury disaster loan and loan advance, the $10,000?
I did not specifically discuss that, because to get the advance, you have to have applied for the economic disaster injury loan. And when looking over the paperwork, I don't know if many independent artists or small business companies would have done that. I think you have to apply for that. And then if you have applied, then you can ask for that advance, $10,000 advance. You can look into it. Just in my perusing it, I didn't think many independent artists and small business companies would fall in line or would apply to it for it, but they can look into that and make that determination for themselves. And of course, if you do and you get that 10,000, it is considered a grant.
Okay. And you can go to SBA.gov to apply for that.
SBA.gov will give you
streamlined application, really simple.
Mm-hmm.
Real simple application.
Okay. Well, that's all that we have for this evening. I appreciate you all joining us. We're recording this, so we're gonna post this on our YouTube channels, on our Facebook pages, so we can make sure that we get this information out to as many people as possible. If you like the information, feel free to share it to anyone. We just want to make sure everyone is taken care of. The industry really went out of the way to make sure that our people were taken care of, and parts of the entertainment industry were hit quite heavily, and we're just, we haven't seen the end of it. We got a few more weeks of this to go, so we got to pull together and help each other out at this time. So,
and stay safe, stay at home.
That's right. Stay at home.
Stay safe at home. And when you go out, if you have to go to the grocery store, there's a mandate now that they really want you to wear a mask, whether it's a cloth mask, preferably a cloth mask. And if you don't have a cloth mask, just a regular medical mask. And yeah, just stay at home though, for the most part.
As they say, stay home, mine.
Right. All right, everyone. Till next time.
Till next time. Oh, speaking of next time, be prepared for some new exciting things with On Location Memphis, the Memphis Music Bank. We're going to have a lot of virtual parties, screenings, a whole lot of fun stuff coming up in April. Oh, and the new website. Might as well.
We will be officially releasing it, unveiling it, putting out a press release on Monday, but you can get a preview of it today.
Go to onlocationmemphis.org.